Now, the up and down weather we experience plays a role in all parts of life, including the military. Haley Burchett joins us in studio with more. Haley?
North Dakotans are no strangers to inclement weather, right? We see it all from blizzards to tornadoes and more. But the weather can have a major impact on missions at Minot Air Force Base. I spoke with some of the unsung heroes that make sure the B-52s and the Hueys can safely take to the skies. These B-52s play a pivotal role in our nation's defense. But the mission doesn't go off without the work done here.
Drizzle in that area, so if he's seeing anything.
Senior Airman Christina Long and the weather flight team with the 5th Operations Support Squadron monitor the skies. Long says it's crucial that they pay attention to certain details that go above and beyond your typical forecast.
When civilian members or civilian agencies do weather, they're doing a broad brush of things that are occurring. They are not catering that weather specifically to the needs of a certain agency, needs of certain aircraft, because the weather needs of a helicopter are going to be completely different than the weather needs of a civilian 747.
Captain Stephen Bennett, the weather flight commander on base, was stationed in Okinawa, Japan before his assignment to Minot. He says after receiving a weather forecasting assignment in basic training, 9 months of additional coaching is required before an airman is qualified to perform meteorologist duties.
We'll really oversee that they become subject matter experts for what we do and what missions we support here at Minot Air Force Base.
Here, Long explains to us what they are looking for.
So this is showing our wind direction, wind speed, and then if we have any gusts, it'll pop up here.
Their efforts can best be defined by their squadron emblem Excalibur, as the weather holds the ultimate power for successful missions. Team members say Minot is tough to forecast for.
The way things develop here is a lot different than it's developed any other place that I've forecasted for. So it definitely adds a challenge, and it's a learning curve to forecast for this location.
Making sure the skies are clear when it matters most. The work they do does not stop with day-to-day functions either. They also contribute to meteorological weather studies and research. Joe?
Yeah, it's very fascinating, everything that goes into that. All right, Haley, thank you for that report.